Welcome to Real Love, Real Stories TV and podcast. I am Kanu and I'm the host. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for joining me as I learn about love from couples who are making their relationships work and from singles who make being single fun. In the guest chair today is a couple from Phoenix, Arizona, Tim and Adia. Enjoy their love story. Thanks, guys, for being here. So to start off with, before we start talking about your love story, can you guys introduce yourselves to the audience?
My name's Adia.
I'm Tim.
Welcome to the show, guys. I'm so excited for you guys to be here. My friends from church here in Phoenix, Arizona. All right. So as you know, Real Love, Real Stories is a show about talking about your love story. So let's take us back to when you guys, got into each other's lives. How did your love journey begin? Go as far back as you want.
This is a debated topic.
It is, yeah.
In our relationship.
I love this.
So we have been in each other's orbit, I think, since middle school, about 7th grade. Don't ask me what year that was. I've already gotten lost. But we didn't really get to know each other until our senior year in high school.
Okay.
And so now we're coming up on around, we'll be turning 6 years in marriage this month and 8 years
Next
as a couple.
Oh, next week. Happy early anniversary.
And we're already at 16 years as friends. And
oh, wow. So 10 years of friendship and then, some dating in there. Yeah. And then marriage 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a Spanish class together. And then actually we were in each other's orbit before then, but we didn't realize that.
One of her exes was a friend of mine. And
I was thinking before you we bring that up. We found out later on that we've kind of been moving
in the same
vicinity.
We lived on the same street, but in different times.
In different areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've kind of been circulating each other.
Moving.
But never meeting until high school for hanging out.
So wait, so you didn't know each other at all back then before? Okay.
No.
So, but you mentioned that you were friends with her ex. Was that?
Yeah, that was high school. I was just the guy that I was friends with because we caught the bus in the same spot, and he happened to date her for a while in high school until he transferred out.
Oh, okay.
And then neither of us saw him for the longest time. So.
Okay.
Let's think about it. So, was it junior high? It wasn't junior year, but senior year in high school.
The Spanish class?
Yeah.
Yeah, senior year.
It was senior year of high school.
Okay.
We were the only two seniors
in the Spanish class.
In the Spanish class.
Otherwise, it was sophomores and juniors.
Because we were procrastinators.
We needed to get that credit.
And needed that credit. And he says we had a class together in 7th grade.
8th grade.
8th grade.
English.
But you don't remember
Mr.
that?
Wilson.
He remembers it, even the teacher. You don't remember it.
To save myself some kind of redeeming credit, I was not in that class very often.
Okay.
It was kind of like a homeroom class at the end of the day, and I would take that time to either go do homework, or I'd go, most of the time I'd be in orchestra, like I would be doing additional practices. So for also, let's just be very blunt about it, I was a Black girl with blue hair in a very white school. So
she was very noticeable.
I
was
out.
Not.
Oh, you
oh, baby.
By comparison.
Oh, okay. When I did meet you, you originally had red hair. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So for our audio audience that are listening and not watching, you guys are a mixed couple.
Yep.
So that's why you brought that up. So, cool. So, okay. So you got married 6 years ago. So take us back to when you decided dating. Like, how did you come to that?
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah, we actually started long distance.
Okay.
Should I tell it? You tell it? I'll tell it.
You go for it.
Okay. She had moved to Charlotte, North Carolina for work.
Okay.
And I did not until you've been there about a year or so. And the relationship she was in ended.
Yep.
Because I think he wanted to get rid of the dog and you got rid of him. The dog is still around.
Who was it? Me or the dog?
The dog.
You gotta
won.
go. So I was engaged.
Yeah.
To be married to this lovely gentleman who just doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually quite similar. We'd all actually hang out sometimes.
I did not like control.
Not particularly, no. But you were my best friend, and you stuck it out. We've actually been best friends since high school, since the end of senior year high school. So you stuck it out, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's also this weird dynamic of like, I know all of his exes, he knows most of my exes.
Yeah.
But we're out in Charlotte, and the best way I can describe it is I was out in Charlotte, and I didn't miss being in Arizona. I didn't miss my family in that kind of a heartache way. Like, I was a little homesick. I missed my best friend.
Oh, him being your best friend.
And that being my best friend.
Oh my God.
And my other relationship was already starting to break apart because I didn't know if he really should have moved out there with me, because he did move out there with me.
Okay.
And we were already deciding that this didn't work out. But you.
Yeah, me. So I,
So that guy left. Guy left.
I made the choice to take a trip out there to spend some time, about a week with her, and we formed a relationship out of that. And we did long distance for over a year. And about the 1 year anniversary, I revealed to her that I'd gotten approval for a transfer through work to come out there myself.
So can we just back that particular thing
Yes,
up?
please.
Yeah.
So I had gone back to Arizona to take care of my mom. So my mom was having another surgery. My mom has health issues. So I come back out, and it's going to be several months of rehab for her. And I get approval to work from home in Arizona. He comes out there. He flies out there, drives back with me, with the dog. We drive back. And it's in that 3 month time frame that he was my rock. I would go take care of my mom and during the day, and I'd work East Coast hours and to make sure she got her medication, and she was hooked up to IVs in the house, and make sure she had her medication, make sure she ate, because she was not really eating during that time frame. And if I needed a break, me and the dog would drive all the way out to where his place was and spend the night. And then I'd get up at 4 a.m. and go back. And I did that for a while, for over a month. Yeah. And then I'd get weekends sometimes to go hang out with you. And then in that time frame, we had an anniversary within that time frame in which we were both sick, and we read and ate Chinese food, and we're called the most boring couple by his friends and my family. And
there's nothing wrong with that,
right? I thought that was it's honestly still one of my favorite anniversaries. Like, I still want to travel, please don't get me wrong. Like, let's make that happen. But it was still one of
sitting and doing nothing.
That was
amazing.
So you guys, it sounds like you have very quality time Like you like to spend quality time together. Yeah.
Yeah, even when we were friends, we just jump in the car and go right around and talk.
Just enjoy being with each other.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we did that. You identified you could move out there. Mm-hmm. We packed up and sold off all your stuff.
Yeah.
Including that god-awful shirt.
Shady shirt.
Just that one. Maybe two. All right. Hawaiian shirts. Some are great.
Some are not good.
And some are not okay.
Apparently mine were not okay.
It was one. It's the only time I've ever done that in our relationship. And it will probably be the only time I ever do.
I love it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I love you. But... yeah.
So, okay, you moved to North Carolina?
Right.
Okay. And then so at this point, how many months into dating are you?
We're over a year. We were probably, by the time we got to North Carolina, we were maybe a year and 2 months, 14 months total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when does the engagement happen?
Pretty soon.
2 months after that.
Okay.
We were in the kitchen, like making lunch or dinner or something. And we'd had conversations about where our relationship was heading and how serious we were taking it. And
there was also...
I didn't have a ring or a speech or anything prepared, but I found myself rambling on about how I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. And she's like, "Are you asking?" I'm like, "Yes, I would very much like you to marry me." And
this man never gets tongue-tied. He never gets tongue-tied.
At that point,
he was rambling. I could not understand the words.
You're like, what's happening?
Such a spoken individual that I was just like, do. This is true. Oh, he's proposing.
She just said this, like, what is going on here? What's happening? What is happening right now?
So you immediately said yes?
Nope.
She did not.
Oh, you did not?
I did not. I asked.
She didn't say anything. That was the fun part.
There's definitely some kissing that definitely happened that night. Hush up now. Anyway, hush up. What also happened is I asked that next morning for a week so that I could pray about it. Because I had just come out of a very long engagement and then essentially went not straight into dating you. There was definitely a break in between.
Yeah, a couple months.
Okay.
Not nearly enough for me to trust everything, and I needed to pray about it.
Yeah.
So I asked for a week of prayer, and I fasted and prayed for a week. And all right, God, is this where you want me to go? And I said yes.
Oh.
I don't think I told anybody that you had asked either. Did I?
I don't know. Like, we told people afterwards when we decided.
When I said yes.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
So did you, when she said that, how did you feel about that?
Amazed.
Yeah.
I was still kind of coming to terms with the fact that I'd asked, that I was ready. I felt ready for it, or felt, maybe ready is not the right word, but that I was desiring.
Right.
Desiring her to be my wife, to live with me, to put up with me forever. And
you were okay with me asking, or asking for a week?
Yeah, it was. It was better than no.
Right.
So.
Well, that's a good way to look at it, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
And I guess we were still living together at that point. We were going to be. She was kind of stuck with me regardless.
Right.
So.
It wasn't awkward though for the week that she was praying and fasting while you're in this.
I honestly don't even remember that week.
No, neither do I.
Okay. Yeah.
It was probably the same week I first got really sick out there or something. I can't deal with this. Because when you move across country, you discover all the things allergy-wise you're not exposed to before that hit you in the face.
Right.
Right.
So
you did get hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aww.
Yeah. I don't think you never pressured me. You never checked in. I don't think I remember that at all. I remember saying yes. I remember, actually, more than saying yes, I remember us walking the dog as we called people and told people.
afterwards
Yeah.
that you were,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
So maybe it was really meant to be that you guys took that time to really process this. Because I mean, marriage is not,
Yeah.
you know, it happens today, tomorrow it's over. You want it to be a forever kind of thing. So maybe it was a blessing that you guys took that time to.
Well, I went from someone who didn't want to be married at all. Not because of other people's marriages, but like as a little girl, I'm Christian. Non-denominational is the way I grew up. But I thought the Catholic nuns had a pretty good concept. Like,
Right.
oh, I just get to love Jesus for the rest of my life? That sounds amazing. And then someone's like, well, you have to be Catholic. And I was like, well, I'm pretty much committed to this area of how I'm going to express, so that's not happening. So I didn't want kids. I didn't want that. I wanted this independent life with God. And then from there, I may have been proposed to before. So when the last guy, that bigger relationship, had proposed, I had said yes, but it was a very hectic scenario. It was in the middle of a crisis, essentially, that he proposed.
It's the wrong timing for sure.
Yeah, like he had planned it very nicely. But then we were in the middle of essentially rushing my nephew to the hospital because he had fallen from his bike and there was parts of his leg actually out. And then instead of waiting for the dinner he had planned, he asked me in the middle of this hecticness.
Oh, wow.
And I said yes. And I don't know if I would have said yes, but I definitely know it wasn't the right thing to do now. Like at the time, it may have been right. But I asked for time from Tim, and he respected it.
Yeah.
And he didn't pressure me. And he, like my best friend does, kind of just accepts that I'm a little crazy sometimes and get a little loopy and need to process things a little slower sometimes. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Also, the whole kissing you after you asked me probably helped.
Gave me a good indication.
Yeah, I feel like you didn't feel like you were just like, I don't know what she's gonna do. Like, you think you knew. I just probably needed to wait this out.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So, okay. Well, that's beautiful.
All that now led up to when we called her father. He commented that she didn't have to say yes to everyone who asked.
What?
He's a special man. But that's beside the point.
I had been proposed to. I think Tim's my third proposal. And technically I had said no to the first one. And the second one I said yes to. And then this one I said yes to. But my dad has a very interesting sense of humor.
I thought it was hilarious at the time.
Yes. We all laughed.
He was being serious though?
Kind of.
Probably.
But it's also one of those things where Tim has been around my family for years. He went with me to take my little brother to trick-or-treating when he was like 5. So we've done that. We used to do dates with my nieces and nephews. You'd come with me. I'd go spend time with your little cousins.
Yeah.
Like, we've had this interaction. You've been to holidays with our family as my best friend for years. And even, some siblings were trying to talk you into.
Yeah, they really thought that they had more to do with this than they did.
Oh, I see. Oh, get the two of you getting together? Oh, okay.
He was a little slow on the pickup, though.
I was making sure to respect your time. The playing field was clear.
First of all, it was never clear or wide open.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't going to
I would
be.
start dating pretty quickly after I broke up with someone.
I remember. And it's not like I waited a whole 10 years. I was like, you know what? I want to be in a relationship with her now. No. I was working on this during that 10-year friendship period.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know this. Yeah,
now the truth comes out, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't just, Adia, now that she's out of the state, on the other side of the country, I think that's where I like to, dedicate my time and energy and give my heart to. Yeah, no, I waited till then. No.
I feel like there was several. I don't think there was an official conversation, but I think we were both trying to respect our friendship. Like we had gone through so much. We'd gone through your mother's death and Granny. Granny hit us both, not as much as you, but it hit us both. And my graduation and me not, having a place to stay, like all of those things we had gone through as a friendship. And who really wants to mess that up? You were and are my best friend, to the point where I think even my little brother was like, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't date. Don't mess this up for me. Because you were part of our family.
I was totally going to mess that up.
I'm going to tell him that.
That's so cute.
I'm going to tell him that. You guys are going to fight that.
I mean, it worked out.
Well, like you're going to hug it out, but still. But yeah, I didn't want to mess that up.
I know. But I wanted to do everything that I could to take care of you and us through all that.
Yeah.
But I think we both needed to, at least I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I knew my particular damage.
Yeah.
Like, I knew your particular damage too. Anyway. But I knew my particular damage. And I think I needed those other relationships to go through to figure out what is acceptable, what's not okay, who I am as an older person. I come from a family of people who not just date, but then fall in love and marry their high school sweethearts.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want that particular thing because I've seen how they have to try to shimmy to grow together, and that doesn't always work. And creates complications. And instead we get to have this friendship where we got to see each other stumble and fall and be there to help with the picking back up. And,
So when was the wedding after the engagement? How was quick?
Yeah, we probably rushed through it. There was some health concerns in our family, both our sides of our family. And we wanted to make sure some people were able to be there.
Right.
As it turns out, 6 years later, they're all still fine. But we probably were married within 9 or 10 months of my proposal.
Okay.
9 months.
Yeah.
Was the wedding in Arizona or North Carolina?
We came back out here.
Arizona. We made a lot of compromises to make sure that people were there for it. So we did a small wedding at the chapel on ASU campus.
Yeah.
And
because their family's faculty there, so we got a really good rate.
Oh, that's
also
good.
it was a good chapel.
It's a beautiful chapel.
It's a pretty chapel. The Danforth Chapel looks nice.
Yeah.
And then we had a reception in downtown Tempe on
On a rooftop.
which was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, but planning a wedding across the country, me and this Excel, I love Excel. Me and Excel did a lot of work to get that figured out, and people came through and helped out. I will say that I've noticed how God blesses Tim and I when we work together, when we're on the same page and working towards something. I've seen him move things, like if we're going the right path,
Right.
I've seen him move things and shift things together in ways. You went from part-time to full-time. You went to, in that time frame, you got bonuses and extra work. We both had tax stuff. Oh, we paid for the wedding ourselves. So that's to like make it. And then, people stepped up and helped when they could. And it was important for us to try to do the wedding on our own.
Yeah.
So that
we were able to walk away from the wedding actually not in debt with like the cash gifts we received were able to be a blessing for us.
Right. They were.
And we didn't have to lose all that right away.
Right. Which was very useful because the week after we got married, we came back into Charlotte and our car died.
Oh, man.
And God showed up again. We were watching one of our friends' dogs, and we were allowed to use their car for a week. And got all of our money together and did it. But it was a nice wedding. It was a small wedding, and
that's how it should be. You know, there's actually statistics out there that talks about, well, the number one cause for divorce. You know, one of them is communication, and the other one is money. And it's mostly money from actually weddings, like how much money you spend on a wedding.
Yeah.
So you do all these lavish things, and you really are doing it for other people, I think, not for yourselves.
Yeah.
And then once everybody's gone back to their lives and it's the two of you, now the bills are coming.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when the conflict starts happening. Like, you know, where's the money going to come from? And, you know, you should be focusing on other things, and God forbid your car breaks down and all those bills are coming at the same time. I mean, it just causes a lot of frustration in newlyweds for sure. So,
and there's definitely some stress with getting everything together for the wedding on our own.
But we managed it because we were able to work with each other, and as opposed to the stereotypical groom, I got to be more involved and help with that. I think that was a great learning lesson for me as well, to go outside just what I wanted or what my needs were, and find ways to make our wants come together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I hope the little guys are listening to what you just said.
Well, it was kind of nice. We both had culture respected each other. I feel like sometimes when you're in an interracial relationship or interfaith, or when you have those particular experiences, sometimes one person's culture kind of overshadows the other.
Absolutely.
And it was really important for both of us to kind of try to respect and intertwine who we are. Yeah. So, you know, on one level, the wedding had to be a bit weird because that's who we are. We're
very weird.
Yeah, strange and funny and laugh a lot. So
that's not weird at all. What's weird about that?
Well, that's not the weird part.
Yeah, that's just who we are. But, you know, something that was important is that we hand fasted for your culture.
Yeah.
So after our vows or in the middle of our vows, right at the end, there is a hand fasting. And we still have
It's
that.
common in a lot of Celtic culture.
What's hand fasting?
Basically, taking our hands, binding our hands together, or around at the wrist with a rope or silk cord or something like that. We did something else, like a soft silk cord. You can use any type of material. Handcuffs would work if you're into it, I guess. But
that's where the weird comes. No,
you call it weird. I call it funny. I love it.
and then for hers, we jumped the broom.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So it was, So in African American culture, particularly, the slaves weren't always allowed to have weddings. They weren't allowed to be married. So one way they got away with secretly marrying each other was they would essentially jump over a broom, sweep your house. It's a part of your life, and you jump over this as a symbol of jumping into this new part of your life.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was kind of nice. I had a friend who made the broom for us, then tied it together. Grandma found the fabric for
the hand fasting.
For the hand fasting. So everybody kind of got tied along.
Yeah. I love how you incorporated each other's,
both the broom and the silk cord are hanging in our house.
Oh, you still have them? Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
First thing you notice when you walk in.
Yeah.
That's us.
Or you notice the mess, whichever.
It's not talking about that.
Yeah. So, I always ask my couples this: what makes your relationship work? 6 years into it, and obviously you are so in love. I'm just sitting here, just looking, both of you guys, you have not, like, when you talk, you look at each other. Like, I'm here to ask questions, but really you're literally talking to each other, which I love. So what makes your relationship work?
Work.
Mm-hmm.
Talking it out.
Yeah.
Talking it out.
And learning how to talk it out in a way that works for us. I think there is this concept that the first year of marriage, that like honeymoon phase, is supposed to be this great part. Lies.
Yeah.
First year of marriage is rough.
Yeah. Ours was.
And ours was not. We had to learn. There were all these assumptions of, oh, because I know you.
Right.
We're going to act like this, or I know how you're going to react, or for me, like, feel like there's this concept where you try to be perfect, or I think women were taught to do all those things, and that just doesn't work. So we had to learn how to work together, how to get real, acknowledge how we were raised and how what things we wanted to bring in and what things we didn't want to bring in.
Yeah.
And you talked about that after marriage, or did you start talking about it before?
We should have talked about it more before.
And we went through couples counseling for church, but that was barely.
I think a lot of we continue to relearn these lessons,
right?
And we do our best to develop like just good communication habits to address our feelings, to try to keep fighting words, accusations, things like that, at a minimum.
Yeah.
To like just to respect and remember that like this person, even when they're driving me crazy, this is a person I've given my heart and has given me theirs.
Right. Yeah.
I realize like it does hurt you when if I lose my temper and go off, and I might not mean to say something harmful or damaging, but you might still hear something harmful or damaging. And I'm learning to respect that and learning to understand that. And it's making me quicker to apologize.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to talk more about stuff, to bring more things up. I think there are some cultural components, there's some personality components of myself that is very much like, well, I'm just going to process it. I'm going to slowly process it, and then I'm going to bring it up. And sometimes that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm also quick to be like, oh, I try not to bring up anything unless it becomes a pattern.
Right.
Like if it's a one-off and it's not that big of a deal, is it really important to talk about?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's hurting or something that comes up, I think we give each other space to learn and grow and change. And then learning to argue, laughing. We still try to laugh before we go to bed.
Yeah.
About anything, whether it's a meme or it's at like what crazy
ridiculous YouTube video.
Or
something stupid on Reddit.
Something we try to laugh about. And I think that's helpful. We check in with each other during lunches and breaks.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, that's still my friend, and I need to respect that and try to check in. I don't want to treat him like he's always going to be there, because it may not occur that he's always going to be there. Whether that is because we broke up or because something unfortunate happened. But I think that's what works for us, is the talking and the re-talking, because there has to be those conversations. There's cultural concerns. There's socioeconomic differences here. There's interfaith issues here that we have to be sensitive about. And if we stumble into them as we have, it takes a lot more work to dig ourselves out of it. So it's better to try to be respectful and I think we've gotten really good at, if something hurts, bringing it up. Maybe not always immediately, but,
Yeah.
and being willing to be like, oh, wow, I realized I didn't mean to hurt you.
Right.
I didn't know that statement or that conversation or that context. And I think we are aware of the fact that there are pressures outside that try to kind of push against previous concepts or things. So we learn together too. Yeah. So I think that works for us. Anything else that works for us? There's a dog who really doesn't like when we argue. So
usually finds a way to break the tension.
It does.
Oh, you guys have a dog at home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the dog from...
Yeah.
The dog is still here. That guy is gone. Okay. The dog is still here.
Okay. Dog likes him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I love that. So I also always ask my couples, since you live together, what are some annoyances? Like one thing that annoys you about each other that you deal with in your marriage? It doesn't have to be like crazy, but
just the one thing?
Get it. Take a moment, breathe it out, man. Like, get it in.
Honestly, sometimes Dia can be a little too stuffy or just like her reservations or the way she kind of wants to keep to herself. She can overdo it a bit too much.
Okay.
And I need her to kind of breathe out and unwind sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, your hair gets everywhere.
I know you're not talking. Your hair is everywhere.
Between my beard, her hair, and the dog, it's just...
we sweep constantly.
The amount of money on lint rollers is...
Vacuuming. Yeah, that's definitely... that hair thing. The hair thing. That hair thing is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
His beard hair everywhere sometimes.
I can always shave it off.
No, I haven't seen those cheeks since... I don't remember. I don't know what your chin looks like anymore. No. I don't remember. It's been over 6 years since I've seen that chin.
Yeah.
Maybe over 10 since I've seen your chin. So we can avoid that.
So what about you, Adia?
Wish you would take care of yourself more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that irks me because when you don't take care of yourself, it slows down our entire family. Mm-hmm. And then, the hair everywhere. That bugs me.
We should be having this talk with Hazel. That's the dog.
Right, I know. Hazel, do better. I would never tell her she's a bad dog. She's a good dog. Anyway, I think that's that. And then there's still the calling in thing just to check in when you're hurting. That bugs me. It hurts my feelings because it's partially making sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to assume it's the wife if you just die. Like, I'm too cute to go to jail. I'm too soft and I don't know what to do. There's not hair products there, and that's important to me.
And they do touch your hair.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah.
This just don't touch my hair. It's not even a possible thing.
So on the flip side of that question, what is the one thing that you absolutely love about each other?
I think you have to go first this time.
Do I? But do I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can do one. Honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to pick.
Do a couple.
I like that we laugh.
Yeah.
I like that I know you save up jokes to tell me later. You're just stealing people's jokes right and left, and I know they're stolen, but I love it anyway.
Whatever.
And that's so cute.
I love that you care for my siblings and my mom, and I know that you took the time to try to figure that out, because that's a weird dynamic for you.
Yeah.
And
You guys are gonna make me cry.
sorry, he's honestly one of the smartest people, and I love that we can have these weird social economic conversations. Like, we truly do think about, like, all right, what are the norms of society? What are the pressures that are happening? What things are we bringing up? What is going on politically, spiritually? Like, we have those conversations, and I don't necessarily have those conversations with many other people. And to know that not only is that like, I'm excited to have those conversations with him.
He's your person.
Yeah. And when I try to have those conversations with other people, they don't always not get it, but they've not had those conversations with me enough to know where I'm headed there. Or like, let's go explore a topic. And sometimes she'll go there with me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No.
You know, that beard's nice too. Big shoulders.
What about you?
I love, like, her compassion and her drive, and like, she has always stopped, even when she's very angry at me, when she recognizes that I'm hurting her in some way, she stops and works me through some really hard things. We really got together as friends towards the end of senior year, because February, my mother had passed away. Of course, we graduated in May, and so right before I turned 18, right before a whole lot of these things happened, I was raised by a single mom too, who she had health problems for most of her life, and it was this just massive blow and change to my livelihood, to my life. And we had a project due for that Spanish class, and I had the paperwork with me. I was like, to finish it up, I'm like, hey, it was a Friday too, of all things, so it was over the weekend. So, hey, I'm not going to have that finished, so you know. And she's like, yeah, I'm coming over to where you are now, like, so that I wasn't on my own at that time. And like, that was, for me, one of the first times that I saw that, of just how much amazing, caring person you are. And promptly helped me start to fall in love with you.
That definitely made an impact because you remember it even this many years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And like, I've been through a lot of friendships where it doesn't necessarily feel like that kind of response would be something you could expect from someone. And I wasn't expecting that from her. And to have received that, like, I felt this was something special from the get-go.
Right. Oh.
That's the only thing you love about me?
That ass. I know, you can bleep that out if you need to.
I can't with him.
I love it.
You started off with drive and passion. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. You're also an amazingly driven person. You've accomplished what you push yourself forward to always better and improve on things in ways that I'm often like, would you slow down and stop? But I always really admire that you keep pushing forward to become a better you.
Thanks.
And you inspired me to be a better me.
Aww.
So my family used to say that he slows me down and I speed him up.
Oh, so you meet each other like halfway almost.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I do. I need you to slow me down.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll work myself into a stupor.
Yeah.
And be happy about it. Like, be content with my life choices.
Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
Guys.
I know it's the feels, right?
Yeah. So I loved what you started to talk about. So this is the part where I always ask for, like, advice and tips for other married couples and even single people. But I just love, and to you for, getting a proposal from the guy that you love But for you to just take a moment and say, can you give me a few days to pray about it? Because I feel like people don't do that. And, I think I was, as you were saying that, I was thinking about, there was this one particular guy, not a proposal, but he said, I love you to me. And I wasn't ready to say that.
Right.
But because I felt like that was the right thing to say, to answer back, I said, I love you too.
Right.
But he was like, I love you too. Like, I wasn't ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine being a proposal, which is what every girl wants. And then you say, I need a few days. So I think that's huge. So can you touch a little bit about that in terms of giving advice to maybe someone who's in a relationship and maybe they're not ready?
I wasn't expecting it. Well, definitely wasn't expecting it while we were just, cooking something we do together, always have.
Yeah.
Even hanging out as friends, one of the first things he did was cook for me.
Yeah.
Good.
Hang out with grandma or granny. I wasn't ready to say yes or make that kind of a life. And if he had a problem with it, then he wouldn't have been the right person.
Right.
And one of the things I've always liked about him is that even in high school, this was my prayer partner. Different faiths, but that's my prayer partner. We believe in the same God. And it was important for me to pray about it. And I think if there's a person who loves you and cares about you enough, I didn't say no.
Right.
But I said, I need some time to think about it. And if I had come back with no, if I had felt like God had said no, that would have been a really awkward thing. I hope you would have tried again at some later point of time, but, no promises.
Yeah.
But if it was no, it would have been no. And you have to respect the part of you that is speaking to you. Call it the Holy Spirit, call it whatever you want to call it. You have to respect that voice in you that says, I need a little time here.
Yeah.
Or this isn't really fitting. And I had taken so many times, I think I had not respected that part of me. And, the relationship before you was several years.
Yeah.
And whereas I respect him as a person, it wasn't the right person. And I shouldn't have said yes. And the undoing, the separating myself from that particular relationship took more time than it should have. To be honest, before I even dated that person, I knew it was probably, I was either going to date him or I was going to date that person.
Right.
And that person asked me first. Just saying.
This is the first time I've ever heard this.
As I say from time to time, get on my level. You didn't at the time. And, and I think you might have actually even been dating somebody at the time or talking to someone. But I knew it was going to probably be you or him. And he's who started talking to me. I didn't expect that was going to go as far as it did, but it did. You just almost let me get away.
But it didn't.
But no, that there is that thing of that mistake. And I don't want to call that relationship a mistake. I appreciate everything I learned there. But it did help teach me that, this is my life.
Right.
And to whoever's going to do it, it's their life. And marriage is, if you think about it in long-term concepts, is a lifelong commitment. And I was not ready to do that without taking some time to think about it. I actually don't understand why more people don't take some time to think about it.
Right.
Because that means we're joining families.
Yeah.
We're creating our own families. We're in the South, as an interracial relationship, there's going to be, at the time, there's going to be issues. We were already seeing people act a certain way, and we still do now. Like the amount of grandmothers that will give me looks is still a bit ridiculous. So
maybe they're looking at you thinking you should have married my grandson or something.
You know what? I hope that their grandson finds someone wonderful for them. Mocha.
A lot of those old white guys just look at me with their vanity like, I should have done that.
but I don't, and I hope whatever kids or particularly young ladies that we either mentor or encourage through our lifetimes, we can say, respect you. I feel like sometimes as women, we're told to just accept.
Yeah.
Instead of through respecting of ourselves.
Right.
Like, I had to unlearn thinking that I needed to be perfect. And that's so damaging that we teach our boys they can fail and get up and go on again and try again. We teach our daughters to be perfect.
Right.
And that is so damaging in relationships when no one is perfect.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to rush.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you. Honestly, I've seen it on TV, in TV shows when somebody says, I need time. But in real life, I think you're the first person I've talked to who will say that. So, I mean, it's a lesson, I think, for a lot of people. There's so many things that we do, we say yes to, including marriage.
Right.
When you're not ready.
Nope.
But to just say, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying, give me time.
Right.
A few days to come back to you with an answer. So that's why I wanted you to touch on that a little bit.
How many people know that I asked for time?
Don't think it comes up much.
They just kind of like, oh, you said yes.
They will know now. So what about...
we hear an awful lot more, probably interesting proposal stories than ours with my rambling in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But I still think the most beautiful part is that she took the time to think it through, to weigh it out, because you could look at that we'd already known each other for a decade, and we'd already spent all that time. You could just assume that we can now just hop right into this, and it wasn't exactly that.
Right.
You still stop to measure out the impact of our life coming together.
Yeah.
And I think we're still kind of finding that impact as it comes along.
Right.
Yeah. And kudos to you too for giving her that space to figure what she needed to figure out without pressuring her. Because, I can imagine when you propose and they're saying you're still waiting for that answer, but still you were able to continue living together in the same space and give her time to process what she needed to process.
She was worth waiting a decade for. She was worth
Oh my God. I love it.
That's so sweet.
So, what for you though, in terms of you were talking about when you were planning the wedding, and I loved how you said you were very much involved, and I can only imagine. I've heard from other couples that usually the guy is hands off, but for you, what advice would you have for guys to?
They should find a way to be involved. It's not just the bride's party,
right?
It's not just for the bride's family, and even in our case, I think a lot of our guest list was majority of her larger family. I have a much smaller family, but it's still something that we are sharing together, bringing these things together. So this should be a reflection of both of us,
right?
So I think that if it's just as small as picking out your tie, a guy should be involved in their wedding in some way. They should, I think one of the big things I did was I picked the venue, and I could have coordinated with making sure we made the payments for the rentals, for everything like that.
Right.
We made our song list together.
You picked out the group stuff completely. I didn't have to even think about it. We picked the colors together even.
Yeah. Like we
actually I think that was more you than me.
Maybe.
Which is awesome, because usually guys are like, just tell me when to show up.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
It's not that
I'm not a spectator at
He's
this.
not.
This is an event. This is like the moment that's changing my life. I shouldn't just be there to be there. Like it's something to be invested in. And I think if you're finding yourself going to the altar and you're just there as a spectator, maybe you should stop.
It's in the real. Yeah.
Like you probably will get in an awful lot of trouble for taking my advice and running away at that moment. But if you find you are not as invested in this as you thought from the get-go,
You should,
like, why did you ask if you're not willing to be a participant? Like starting out that way as a participant in your own wedding is a way to start as a participant in your marriage.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Thank you both for taking some time to share your love story and all those tips and advice that you shared with my audience. We really, really, really do appreciate you taking the time to do this.
I'm happy to.
Yep.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to go to iTunes. You can subscribe, rate, and write a review. And also, you can always find more information about any of the episodes on my website, www.realloverealstories.com. And remember to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and it's all under Real Love, Real Stories. Till next time.